My name is Mia, and I am 24 years old. I live in a small, peaceful town surrounded by mountains and open skies. Life here is calm, predictable, and comforting, but I have always carried a deep personal struggle, a fear that controls me. I am terrified of speaking in public. Even the idea of speaking in public, even my words vanish. It is a fear I have avoided my entire life. At work last week, this fear came to the surface in the worst way possible. During a team meeting, my boss looked at me and said, "Mia, I need you to deliver a presentation next Friday. It's for one of our most important clients." My stomach dropped. The room suddenly felt smaller, and I could feel everyone's eyes on me. I tried to stay calm and replied, "Me, are you sure?" My boss smiled and said, "Yes, Mia, I believe you've been the best person for the job." I didn't know what to say, so I nodded, but my mind was already racing. I wanted to say no, to come up with an excuse, but I couldn't. Um, I didn't want to disappoint my boss or my team. However, the thought of standing in front of strangers, presenting my ideas, made my chest tighten. I left the meeting feeling overwhelmed. That evening, I sat in my room, staring at a blank notepad on my desk. The more I thought about the presentation, the more anxious I became. Questions filled my mind. What if I forget what to say? What if I embarrass myself? What if they laugh at me? Each question felt heavier than the last. As the hours passed, I realized I had two choices. I could let my fear win, or I could take control. Running away would only make things worse. I needed to face this challenge. It wasn't just about the presentation, it was about proving to myself that I could overcome my fears. Do. With a shaky hand, I picked up my pen and wrote down a plan. Step 1, prepare my presentation. Step 2, practice every day. Step 3, believe in myself. The first step was clear, but I knew the road ahead wouldn't be easy. The next day, I sat down at my desk to start working on the presentation. The topic was how to save money, a subject I was familiar with. I gathered tips, read articles, and organized my ideas. I decided to use simple, clear points so the presentation would be easy to follow. I created slides with bright visuals and simple text, hoping it would keep the audience engaged. Focusing on the task helped distract me from my nerves, at least for a little while. Uh, However, as the day went on, my anxiety crept back. I kept imagining myself standing in front of the clients, fumbling over my words. What if I make a mistake? What if I freeze? The doubts felt louder than my confidence. But I reminded myself of the plan, take it step by step. I couldn't let fear stop me. That evening, I decided it was time to practice speaking. I stood in front of my bedroom mirror, holding my notes tightly. Um, Good morning, everyone, I began, but my voice wavered and I forgot my lines halfway through. Frustrated, I sat down on my bed thinking, how will I ever do this? For a moment, I felt like giving up, but then I remembered something important. Progress takes time. I had to keep going, no matter how small the steps. The following night, I practiced again. This time, I broke the speech into smaller sections, I focused on one part at a time, repeating it until I felt comfortable, well rested. Gradually, my voice became steadier, and I started remembering the words. It wasn't perfect, but I was, uh, by Wednesday, I decided to ask for help. I called my best friend, Sarah, and said, "Can you listen to my presentation? I really need some feedback." She agreed immediately and came over that evening. As I stood in front of her, my hands were shaking, but I pushed through. When I finished, Sarah clapped and said, "Yeah, you're doing great. You just need to trust yourself more." Her encouragement gave me hope. Over the next few days, I kept practicing, imagining myself in the meeting room. By Thursday night, I felt a mix of fear and determination. "Tomorrow is the day," I told myself. "You've prepared for this, Mia. Now it's time to face it." Friday morning arrived, and I woke up with a nervous energy that was impossible to ignore. My heart was racing, but I reminded myself that I had prepared for this. After all, I had spent the entire week working on my presentation. "You've got this," I whispered to myself as I got ready for the day. I chose my favorite blue dress, the one that always made me feel confident, and made sure my hair was neatly styled. I went through my notes one last time, repeating the opening lines of my speech under my breath. "Good morning, everyone." Today, I will talk about saving money. Saying it aloud calmed me a little, but my nerves still lingered. I grabbed my materials, took a deep breath, and left for Kadai. When I arrived, my boss greeted me with a smile. "Good luck, Mia. You're going to do great," he said. I nodded, trying to match his confidence, but my hands were clammy and my stomach felt tight. The meeting room was already filling up with people, my colleagues, a few clients, and even some unfamiliar faces. They were chatting, but their presence only made me more aware of how high the stakes were. At exactly 10 a.m., it was time to begin. My boss introduced me to the room. "Today, Mia will present our strategy for saving money. Let's give her our full attention." I stood up, clutching my notes tightly, and walked to the front of the room. The spotlight was on me, um, and I could feel every pair of eyes watching. Um, I took a deep breath and began.
Good morning, everyone. Today, I will talk about saving money. My voice was shaky at first, but I pushed through. As I spoke, I focused on the words I had practiced so many times. Slowly, my confidence began to grow. My voice steadied, and I even made eye contact with a few people in the audience. To my surprise, some of them were nodding and smiling, which gave me a boost.
I had done it. I had faced my fear of public speaking, and I hadn't crumbled under the pressure. One by one, my colleagues came up to me. "Great job, Mia. That was clear and engaging," one said. Uh, Another added, "You really nailed it." The clients seemed impressed. My boss stopped by as well and gave me a big smile. "You've come a long way, Mia. I'm proud of you," he said. His words meant the world to me. And for the first time in days, I allowed myself to fully relax. As I left the office, the sun was shining brightly and everything seemed a little different. The streets felt livelier, and the weight I had been carrying all week was gone. On the walk home, I thought about how far I had come. At the start of the week, I couldn't imagine standing in front of an audience without falling apart. But now I knew I was capable of much more than I had believed. That evening, I sat in my room with the notepad where I had written my plan. Step 1, prepare the presentation. Step 2, practice every day. Step 3, believe in yourself. I smiled as I realized I had followed through on every step, even when it felt impossible. I grabbed a pen and added a new line. Step 4, celebrate your victory. This experience taught me an important lesson. Fear only has power if you let it. By facing my fear head on and preparing myself, I was able to take control instead of letting it control me. I realized that the things we're most afraid of are often the things that help us grow the most. As I got ready for bed, I felt a sense of accomplishment. This wasn't just about the presentation, it was about proving to myself that I could overcome my fears. I lay down, closed my eyes, and thought, this is only the beginning. If I can do this, I can face anything. If you enjoyed this story and found it inspiring, please like, share, and subscribe to support the channel. Don't forget to leave a comment about a fear you faced and how you overcame it. Together, we can inspire each other to grow.